Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rooted Home podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by viewers like you because we are answering your questions today. We've
Yeah.
got some questions specifically for Lauren and some specifically for me. So while she's feeding the baby, I'm going to hold the phone and ask her some questions and we'll see what she
I don't get
says.
to take a peek.
Lauren, can you talk about how to manage any challenges you have with keeping the home while the husband is home more often? Which maybe that's relevant right now because I'm working
You
from home a lot.
Yeah, so wait, what does that mean?
So I think there were some specific questions about, oh, my husband's retired now, and so he's at
Oh.
home all the time and leaves his shoes, like
Oh,
does all
yeah,
these
okay.
things. Like I think there are a few questions along those lines that
Yeah, so I think it can span from young moms to retired
Mhm,
because we hear, I think, across the board. Um, I do think that it's important not to nag
it's good.
while also making your request known. So if there's a pattern, I would not say speak to every little, if there's a sock on the floor or whatever, don't just pick up the sock, you know? But if there are shoes that somehow don't make it in the basket, just next to the basket, then maybe you can make more room in the basket. Think if there's anything that you need to do to troubleshoot the situation to make it easier for something to happen. But also, you can have a respectful conversation with your husband about it because
Mhm,
he's not going to know if you don't talk to him. And for you to keep it in and not actually share can lead to bitterness or resentment.
mhm,
So I do think it's
for sure.
important to respectfully, without frustration, don't, if you're frustrated in the moment, you're not qualified to talk to your husband about it. You just need to wait a minute. Ask me how I know.
Mhm.
It's good to wait. Um, oh, you think so too. But yes, I do think that it's important to bring it up if it's a pattern and if it's something that you think that there's a solution that um, that would bless you and that could possibly bless a home.
Mhm.
Also, it's important to remember that men and women are wired differently. We've talked about this
Yes.
a lot. So, women, God made us to love beautifying the home and
Managing it.
troubleshooting
Yeah.
it and managing it and making, yeah, in different ways. And men are very different.
Men are commanded to live with their wives in an understanding
Yeah.
way. And one of the reasons that I think the Lord commands that is because we need to understand that our wives are different. They've been made to do particular things that are a blessing. So when you, as the husband, don't understand that your wife is literally doing what God made her to do, when she's like frustrated that the shoes aren't where they're supposed to be over and over again, it's because you are putting obstacles in her way of doing what she feels called to do
Yeah.
as a woman.
Yeah.
And so part of living with your wife in an understanding way is realizing that that's not a small deal. You aren't wired that way to care that much where the shoes are. She is. And it is going to be frustrating to her. And if she's told you a bunch of times, it's kind of your own fault at a certain point. But I do think that there does need to be that deeper conversation because otherwise, if you don't realize how differently you and your husband or you and your wife are wired,
Yeah.
then it does just feel like this person I live with has this
Just
really
doesn't.
ticky tacky preference that I have to work to appease, or she gets upset. Like, no, 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 no. Like, if necessary, maybe the husband and wife should have that deeper discussion of we are wired differently, we are made differently, we care deeply about different things. This is something that is meaningful to me. You know,
Mhm.
Second Timothy or First Timothy 5:14, when it talks about women managing the home, it kind of uses a word that references her being like the house despot. Like
Thing.
this is her thing. She's in control of managing the home. That's what she's supposed to be doing. So you should work with her on that.
Mhm.
And so there can be, if there's a level of understanding there, that goes a long way. If there's
Mhm.
not understanding, then yeah, we just think that we have different preferences and we're sniping at each other about it. And that's
Mhm.
not good. So,
What do you think? What would you say to the woman who has a lot of preferences? Like every little thing bothers her.
so you do need to have the self awareness to know what is your personal preference versus what is actually keeping a good home and what's necessary. So it's like with your kids. If you have rules for everything, you're going to exasperate your kids, and that's not good. If you have rules for everything in the house that your husband needs to be doing, that's going to exasperate him.
Yeah.
So there needs to be wisdom in how you're doing it. Pick your battles, but also, know what genuinely is most important to you and why. Learn to let things go that aren't as important. Have good, fruitful conversations with your husband about it, especially if he's at home a lot.
And come up with, like I said earlier, strategies. So if you keep noticing that someone drops keys on the counter, why don't you put a basket or a hook where that place is? Like, make it easy to keep things orderly if you can. Or if you notice kids come in and drop their backpacks in a place that you don't want them, maybe you need to come up with a container that's in that area. Like, you just, rather than getting exasperated or frustrated with everybody and just assuming that they just don't care, and honestly can get fussy about it.
Fussy, naggy.
Yeah, don't do that. Just remember, you are the manager. That is not their role. Manage it. Try to see if there's anything that you can do. Have those conversations. As Poppy used to say, this woman that I love, pray, Lord, change me. Whenever things like that frustrate you, because they can be frustrating, especially if you're working really hard. It can feel like people don't care. That's not true. They might not care about the thing as much, but they care about you and they love you. But anyway, so yes, I think, and another thing, I actually asked Karen, a woman who's she's an older woman in our church, what she would say to that, because her husband's retired and they're home, and she just laughed and she said, don't try to change him. He put up, and this woman is a firecracker too. Like, she's wonderful. She's very smart, and she's like, he puts up with me for so long and with so many different things. Talk to him about it if you want to, but don't basically just learn to relax. It's not the end of the world. And so I thought that was good perspective too.
That's good.
So anyway.
So I like this. The last thing I was going to say is from the husband's perspective, if the husband does start respecting the request that you've made, don't have a mindset of, finally, he's starting to do this. Thank him.
Yeah.
Thank him. Express how much you appreciate it. Because now I know how much you appreciate the bed being made in the morning. Like, this is an easy win to bless my wife. Like, if you had an attitude of, finally he's doing this, like, I would have no desire to make the bed in the morning, but because I know it blesses you, I do. So if you do get your husband to start doing something you've wanted him to do, don't ruin the win by thinking, finally.
Yeah.
Thank him for it and show gratitude.
Because, hold on, to that point, men are conquerors, right? So we've talked about this. Like, if there's a task that they know is going to be a win, and it's going to be like,
give him the win.
Give the man the win.
Yeah.
Like, men are wired to love that. So I feel like
we want to find success for our families and bless our families.
Yeah. And so if this is one little way to bless his wife, then show gratitude. Don't take advantage of it.
All right. So here's a practical question I think goes right along with the kind of stuff you teach. How long do you stick with a daily routine before you try to tweak or change it?
If it's new, if something's new, I usually give it a week or two. You need to give it a week or two, because there's always going to be growing pains at first, and it's not going to be natural. Like, it's just not. The first week, you could just expect for it not to work very well. Some of it will work.
Especially if it's with the kids.
Yeah. Some of it will work. Some of it won't. It'll feel awkward. But I think if you give it a good couple of weeks to settle in and see where the actual problems are, you need to give it time for that to happen. So after that, then I'll tweak something. But usually it's like extending a block. So I like to work in rhythms and blocks. I'm not like a schedule to the clock person. So usually that just means like lowering expectations for how long something will actually take, or if something, extending a block, shortening a block. Anyway, tweaking making little tweaks like that, not overhauling anything. So try to figure out what part in the machine's not working
Hmm.
and yeah, fixing it accordingly. So,
All right, we'll do one more, and then we'll
okay.
swap who's asking. Does decluttering have anything to do with your journey?
Oh, oh. Um, decluttering. Hold on. Let me declutter this little fussy baby right now. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. Um, decluttering. Sorry. Yeah, kind of. Yes, it does but I think because we suddenly had a bunch of kids, I like all the stuff coming in. I was like, I kind of tried to nip it in the bud
Hmm.
early, and it. I think I saw the potential. There was no slow creep. It was just
Right.
like a bam, and I think that bam, the sudden was like that juxtaposition of it being suddenly we have a lot of things to manage, turned me off to wanting a ton of things.
Hmm.
So I never fell into the slow creep of accumulating a bunch of stuff because of that, I think.
Ramped up fast.
Yeah, it ramped up fast, and so I wanted to come up with a solution fast.
So here's some of the practical things that you do that
Yeah.
keeps the home manageable with stuff. So you have 6 kids. The problem is that, like, for every birthday, every Christmas, loving family wants to provide gifts,
Right.
and that's great, and we
Mhm.
love that. Problem is that's way, way, way too many toys. In a house, if every family member is providing a toy to every child twice a year, it gets out of control very quickly. So some of the practical things I love that you've done or that we've talked about and done are having family contribute to experiences
Mhm.
instead of toys. So buying us zoo passes or passes to other things that we can use throughout the year, helping fund fun things on a vacation
Mhm.
we took that are good family bonding experience things that maybe we wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. That's a great, if you can line those up and ask family just to contribute to them
Mhm.
instead of providing gifts, that's a great avenue. When it comes to toys in the home, you focused on like quality things that are good for the kids. So like Legos, Lincoln Logs, um,
Things you can add to.
things you can add to over time. Because you can always build
Mhm.
the Lego collection, build a Lincoln Log collection. Those wooden magnet trains that they can set up downstairs.
And literally all of those things they hardly ever play with because 'cause they're always outside.
Now that, well, the weather's good,
Yeah.
yeah, they're always outside, which is great.
Yeah.
So, but those are some
Books.
practical books. Always, you can always have more books, especially if you have kids who are readers and if you've taught them to read well. Asking family to provide hard books, that's always great. You can
Yeah.
find more shelf space for stuff a lot easier than you can
A bookshelf.
a
Just
bookshelf.
kidding.
You can ask for a bookshelf. So, all right, that's 3 for you. I'll
Okay, you
swap
ready?
over.
I'm gonna fire away at you, babe. Oh,
Sounds good.
we got a fussy baby.
You
What's
can
up,
give me him
buddy?
if you want.
Okay, yeah. What is your background? How did it shape your expectations for our home together?
Background. So I guess home background, I had 2 younger sisters and grew up in a Christian home. I think like growing up though, I wasted a lot of time when I was younger, just being a bookworm, addicted to video games. You know, didn't work. Like I was very smart, so I didn't have to work very hard in school. So had a lot of growing up to do when I got to college and thereafter. And I think a lot of formative stuff after that happened with families at the church, actually, and seeing a lot of attractive things there with homeschoolers, with big families, seeing the maturity of children that were spending more time at home with adults than were spending at public school with a bunch of peers in a big group acting a fool and trying to disciple each other is not good, not a good situation. I learned a lot from like the youth ministry at our church was family ministry. So families came as a whole once a month. There's no youth group. It was once a month. Whole families came and worshiped together. If you had, middle school or high school students,
Cornerstone.
yeah. So that was seeing the family integration focus. I think they were a little bit, good on the curve of realizing there was a weakness in our society of families not being valued, the fathers not being valued the way that they ought to be, mothers not being valued the way they ought to be, and they embodied that culture. a lot at the church that I was at. And so those things through my 20s were very, very good influences for setting what I wanted to see in my own home one day. So
I'm glad.
those are the most formative things.
Thank you, church.
Yeah. Thank you, church.
Okay. Okay. What are your thoughts on fitness and how our husbands can help facilitate the time that we need? And she just basically says she feels stuck and guilty to try to go exercise and find the time to do that. Some of that can be a management of time, but she's not sure when her husband needs to work out, he just goes and does it. So what are your thoughts on how husbands can help facilitate that?
I think that it's something that has to be valued, first and foremost. I mean, I want you to be a healthy person. And so I want you to have time to do what that takes. There's definitely ways to, if you can provide the equipment for your wife to do it at home, as opposed to having to go to the gym, that helps a lot. So we have enough space, thankfully, that we can have, some free weights and things like that for you to use here at the house.
But you don't even need that much space for that.
You don't.
You're
You
like
don't
a
need,
square.
yeah, you can pull them out, slide them under your bed, pull
Yeah.
them out. So I think the biggest thing is time, and that's going to look different family to family as to how the husband can help facilitate that. I mean, you wake up in the morning currently while I'm watching the kids, but eventually I'm going to have to go back to work more permanently. So that's not going to keep working. And so you're going to be able to, what's your plan? Like, how are you going to address that once I have to, because it's hard for me to facilitate during the week when I'm at work.
Yeah, I mean, as a woman, you have to find your pockets of time in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the pockets of time, literally, those are your only options for exercise. So there is a time management piece to it. You have to decide when it is that you're going to exercise, and you just have to do it. And even if it's 5 minutes, like, honestly, I think I'm a big believer in the concept of consistency over perfection. So, like, just showing up every day, even if you're doing a stretch or 5 minutes, if you're just showing up every day, you start to slowly form this habit to where it's going to feel weird if you don't do it. And usually, if you just show up, you'll end up doing more than 5 minutes. But even if you don't, it's fine. I think that just finding that pocket of time that you have however much time. So morning before the kids wake up, maybe during nap time, and then after the kids go to bed. Those are the 3 pockets of time that I would say that I could fill. The evenings are usually, we like to spend time together in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I pick my pocket and then I commit to it. And I used to think that I could have a fallback one, but it never worked.
So
Because it just got pushed out. So
there are things I would think are if the husband is expecting you to always just watch the kids while you get to go to the gym, but you're
the
not.
men, sorry, what?
If in the woman asking the question,
Mhm.
if the husband is expecting the wife just to watch the kids for an hour and a half whenever he wants to go to the gym, but there's no reciprocity there,
Yeah.
I think that needs to be a conversation.
Yeah.
So I would say that. And I also am a believer in trying to overlap things. So getting your kids into activities that involve exercise, like getting them into sports you can play with them, getting them bicycles, scooters, so you guys can go to the park, go around the neighborhood, so that family time is also exercise time, going hiking. Anytime you can make family time also activity, exercise time, you're setting a good example for your kids to love being outside and love exercise, loving moving around, and you're getting to also move around. So that's something
good
else.
point.
That's just a family rhythm I would highly encourage.
Because then you're instilling those values in your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had some friends who did that. They would go to their garage and work out together as a family.
Mhm.
So, that doesn't work for our family right now, but I think as they get a little older, I would love to do that because
Well, they all love biking.
Yeah, they all love biking, but I'm just saying, like, some of the, like, online exercises, I don't want the kids to watch that because they're always dressed skimpy,
Mhm.
and I don't want our boys seeing that.
Well, definitely not the boys.
Yeah.
But even the girls is kind of a discipling effect.
Yeah. But, anyway, but you could have a whiteboard and
Play fun music.
Play fun music and do it together. Get some little weights for your kiddos. But
Right.
anyway,
Next
okay.
question.
Next question. Moving on. Well, this is kind of for us both.
Okay. I'll go first.
Huh?
I'll go first. How about that?
This might be a big one. Here
Well, it'll be the last one.
All right. Do you apply Christian gentle parenting?
Christian gentle parenting.
Or Montessori method to your kids?
I would need to have a better definition of exactly what those things mean. But I think, or what is meant by those specific topics, because I mean, we have some Montessori toys, I think, here in the home. There may be some helpful principles there, but in general, like when you say something like gentle parenting, what I hear is that is a modern term that means something.
Mm-hmm.
And as Christians, we should not be fad or chasing the modern thing as if, we suddenly have this new bit of parenting wisdom that child scientists have suddenly figured out, or child psychologists have suddenly figured out. We go back to the word.
That's good.
The Proverbs are full of all the wisdom that you need for parenting. The word is sufficient. Dive into those things, pray over them, apply them, and you will, and learn from other Christians that have raised mature children that are walking with the Lord. Find those families in your church, ask them questions as young parents, learn from them, because that's what you want. You want to see, okay, what families have had successful outcomes? What families have kids that went off to college, are still in the faith, and are happily married? Those are the people you want to find and ask questions of. Ask them how they applied the Proverbs. Ignore all of the modern lingo, fad way of doing anything, really. Since the question is about parenting, that's all you need to become a good parent.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I agree. I mean, you ought to be gentle when you parent.
Gentleness is a virtue.
Gentleness is a virtue. And if you find someone, including your children, who are caught in sin, we're called to restore them in a spirit of gentleness. But that's not what the modern gentle parenting movement, I don't think, always means. But
if it's not,
I think what you said about going back to the word is key.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
And don't be ashamed about any of it.
Yeah.
Because if you're ashamed or embarrassed about any of it, you are depriving your children.
Yeah.
In how you're parenting. So apply the word, apply every bit of it, and trust the Lord, and you'll be blessed.
I mean, He created us, so He knows how we're wired and what works. So yeah. Okay, so you ready for another one? Maybe one more and then we'll be done. Okay. Do we plan on having more children?
It's a hard question to ask whenever you're in newborn season. Well, I mean, if you're in your 20s and newborn season, it's an easy question. We're in our late 30s.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like being in newborn season for a woman, it's like.
Well, usually if you're like in your 20s and you have a child and it's like your second newborn, you probably have a good idea if you want more kids or not.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But for us, we're in our late 30s. Your last pregnancy was incredibly challenging, health-wise. So that's a wisdom question that is still open for discussion at this point, I would say.
Yeah.
And with so many things in our lives, we try and hold things in the open hand and pray towards the Lord. Like, what would you have us do in this situation? And whatever He puts there, we thank Him for. Whatever He takes away, we know that He knows what's best. So we're open to whatever the Lord's our loving Father, and He knows what's best for us and for our family. So if it's best for us to have another child, then I believe we will feel similarly convicted. And if not, then, but a lot of times you do end up in just trying to ask a wisdom question, and the Lord makes you feel like it's more up to you, and that's okay. And the Lord wants you to apply wisdom, and you can just trust that He's going to be with you, whatever path you choose. So right now,
taking a child at a time.
Right now, we're taking a child at a time. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I do think that the health issues do play a big factor in it.
Big factor.
Yeah. So,
stay subscribed, and we'll revisit this, in a year or so.
To be continued.
To be continued. Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But if not, we have 6 kiddos and
we're blessed.
We're very blessed. We're very thankful. Yeah. We trust the Lord with that. So yeah, we love your questions. Keep them coming. And I know we didn't get to all of them today, but we're just going to chip away at them over time.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here today, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.